Problem number 4, we see that they say sine, we'll call this theta 1 sub 1 is equal to 12 over 13 in quadrant 2. So we're going to draw a triangle. In quadrant 2, we have this red triangle. I'll call this theta 1. They tell us that the sides are opposite, or 12 over hypotenuse for sine, right? Opposite hypotenuse, so sine opposite over hypotenuse, 12, 13. If we do the Pythagorean theorem, we find that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So a is equal to the square root of 13 squared minus 12 squared, and we get 5. Pay attention to all the signs. To the left is negative, up's positive, and hypotenuse is positive. Now when we look at the second part, it says sine, and we'll call this theta 2, is equal to 3 over 5. Since it's sine, again, it's opposite over hypotenuse. So we're going to draw another triangle in quadrant 1. Theta is down here by the origin, so we're going to call this theta 2. And opposite is 3. Hypotenuse is 5. And we know we could do Pythagorean theorem, or this is a 3, 4, 5. To the right is positive, positive 4, up's positive, hypotenuse positive. So now we don't see numbers here. It doesn't say 30 degrees plus 45 degrees, etc. I'm going to replace this symbol with theta 1, and I'm going to replace the other with theta 2. We're referring to these different triangles. So what I do when I expand this, if this is cos, if we had cos of u and v, right? I would say cos of quantity u plus v, it's something plus something, is equal to cosine of u times the cosine of v minus the sine of u times the sine of v. Now instead of saying numbers in place of u and v, I'm going to replace it with triangles. So I know if we're talking about red angle, I'm going to say this is the red triangle. So wherever I have a u, I'm referring to looking at the red triangle. Whenever I have the v, I'm referring to the blue triangle. So now we're going to look and ask ourselves, what's the cosine of the red triangle? So, right, ka, toa. So I'm going to look at the red triangle and ask myself, what's the adjacent over hypotenuse? So if I look at the red triangle, the adjacent's negative 5, hypotenuse is 13. So negative 5 over 13. The cos of the blue triangle, adjacent over hypotenuse, so 4 over 5, minus the sine of the red triangle, so sine is opposite of hypotenuse, so opposite is 12 over hypotenuse 13, times the sine of the blue triangle, so sine is opposite of hypotenuse, 3/5. Now I need to simplify this expression on the left, simplify this expression on the right, and then we can subtract. So on the left, I have negative 5 times 4, which is negative 20 over 13 times 5, so over 65, minus 12 times 3, or 36, over 65. Since the denominators are the same, we have 65 in the denominator, and negative 20 minus 36, we have negative 56. So that's our answer. Let's look at number 5. So for number 5, we're going in reverse. We're looking at the expanded version and seeing what this goes to. So is this the cos of u plus v formula? Is it the cos of u minus v formula? Is it the sine of u plus v? Is it the sine of u minus v, etc.? So if you go to your formulas, we see that this has to do with the cosine, right? So we asked ourselves, is this the cosine of addition or subtraction formula? It goes with this one. So if you look at that formula, it says cos of u plus v is equal to the cos of u times the cos of v minus sine of u times the sine of v. So we're trying to write it as given one angle. So I want to write cosine of, and I want to fill this value in here. And that's going to be my answer. So in the u spot, I see pi over 7. So in the u spot, we see pi over 7. In the v slot, I see pi over 5. So we know it's going to be cos of pi over 7 plus pi over 5. And we can simplify. So we know pi over 7 plus pi over 5. We need to create a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this side by 5. And multiply this side by 7. So we have 7 plus 5 pi is 12 pi over 35. So our final answer will be the cosine of 12 pi over 35. So we're just working backwards. Okay, you look at this, you have to determine which of these is u, which is v, and then what word am I writing in front, cos or sine, and is this a plus or minus? So go back to your formulas. Now let's look at this one. We know this is the tangent formula. So what we need to ask ourselves, is it tan of u plus v, which if it's the addition, it would be tan u plus tan v all over 1 minus tan u times tan v. Is it that one? Or is it the difference? Tan of u minus v, which would equal the tan of u minus the tan of v all over 1 plus the tan of u times tan v. So we have to determine which formula matches this. Is it the sum or the difference? Well, let's see. Looks like that's a negative on top. That's a negative on top. It's a positive in denominator, positive. So it looks like we're working with the difference formula. So we know we're working with tan of u minus v. So we have to plug in u and v. So u, let's see, the u spot is right here. So 140 would be the u. The v slot is over here. So tan of 140 minus 60, we'll end up getting tan of 80 degrees. And that's our final answer. So we're just going in reverse.